The Perth Racing Preview is where the Straight Up team finds you the winners, and here's the Straight Up team with their preview of Saturday racing from Ascot.
Oh, he's back. McGinnity.
Hi, Bart.
Hey, Brad.
Hi, Riley.
How are you?
Wonderful.
I bet you've been thinking about this day for a while.
Yeah. Some sleepless nights.
Obviously.
Yeah. Some sleepless nights.
And that would go hand in hand with being married as well, those sleepless nights?
No, that bit's been
already done and dusted.
Easy and comfortable and fantastic. There's no complaints there.
The surname maintenance that was taking place.
It's gone reasonably well so far.
It's very early days, mate.
Well, it just rolled into yesterday at Pinjarra as well, if you don't mind, punters. The redback flyer, the big fella, just lumbering along.
Yeah, he's
won very well.
Thank
God.
A bit of fun, isn't he?
Very well.
What have I missed? Been good? Show been good?
Oh, you've got big boots to fill. Russell Collette's been in outstanding form.
Props to the great man, Rusty.
Queen of Jerusalem last week.
Old Rusty Trombone.
No, he's been very good,
I
Russell.
love his indicative markets rolls.
He's not bad.
I wish I could go up at 160% for every race too. That'd be outstanding.
Oh, now, hang
Jeez.
on. Now, settle
Come
down.
on.
Relax.
I ran the
Come
calcs on him.
on.
Take it
We haven't even
easy.
started. We've been back for all the best of 90 seconds, and he's already getting
yellow
prickly.
card areas. Russell, lift your game, champion.
He'll be listening. Now, we've got a massive day out there on Saturday, have we not? And
Mark, couldn't price a litre of fuel if he was parked at Caltex.
No, I'm going with Russell. He stands up every Saturday with a satchel over his shoulder. You don't. He puts his hard-earned money on the line. You sit up there alongside of him, and let's see who ends up with the most coin. Hey? How you going now, champ?
At 160%.
We've got racing Saturday, but also got the Good Friday meeting Friday.
Yeah, question for you, Bradley. When can we expect prices for that Good Friday meeting tomorrow to be up with Tab Touch? Because currently still nothing there at the moment. Do you have an idea?
If they're not up by now, I'm tipping about 6 o'clock tomorrow morning.
Okay.
Some big news on the Kalgoorlie meeting too for Good Friday. They've had 40 mil of rain up until 1 a.m. this morning, and it's still raining. So they've got a track inspection 5:30 this afternoon, Riles. Was that right? I've got
5 p.m.
5 p.m.
Track inspection with a bit more rain expected tonight, from what I understand.
Cheapers creepers. The old KBRC, they didn't have enough water. Now they've got too much.
It's always the way, isn't it?
When it rains, it pours.
Alanis Morissette wrote a song about that.
So Friday, Saturday back up.
Rail true.
Big rail switch from Friday to Saturday, and slightly different wind conditions too. It looks like a southeasterly rolls on Saturday.
Yeah, very gentle. Doesn't look like anything to really impact play, I wouldn't have thought. Just a gentle southeasterly, pretty cool conditions, 23 degrees, and yeah, you might need the vest.
The vest.
Do you reckon we play on pace until it proves otherwise?
I think so, mate. Plus 11 on Friday, back into the true on Saturday.
11 metres of fresh pad.
Text line's up and about.
0427 789 571 for Retrovision.
Fired up.
Let's go.
Fred's fired up. Fred from Frio's fired up.
He's a beauty. What's he
says,
come up
"G'day,
with?"
champions. Quick tip for Bradley next time he goes on annual leave. Wipe your search history, then give your colleague your login details so we can have a bet earlier than 6 a.m. on race day." That's from Fired Up Fred.
Well, I did half of that.
And Jared from Scarborough. His punting, he says, has been a little bit off the last few weeks, and he thinks he's put it down to not knowing how the track will play each and every Saturday. And he's hoping, well, we've just given it to him. The early thoughts from McGinnity is a big factor in whether or not he comes away from a Saturday meeting in the green. So Jared's very happy to have you back, Bradley. And Bluey on the text line is fired up.
Blue.
Everyone's fired up this afternoon. This is
Easter.
good.
We love it.
He's fired up. He's fired up about Oscar Allen. He has to be dropped, not rested. How can your captain be managed after one of the worst games in club history?
You wouldn't have thought he was too tired, would you? Eh?
Hear, hear. Here, Mart.
I want to know, what is it with the pipe in Essendon? He's been just having sneaky shots at us all year. He rated before the season started that North Melbourne would be a better side than Essendon.
Let's be careful here. I'm a big fan of the pipe.
Yeah, he hasn't had a good year, Pipe. Hasn't been a stellar year.
On his predictions or his...
No, or overall performance. Yeah.
Okay, wow.
Yeah, no, I'm coming for him. But he just,
You're a regular listener.
I love the Pipe, but he hasn't this hasn't been one of his stellar years. I think there's something going on behind the scenes.
Wow. Turn it up, Pipe.
Yeah, he needs to lift.
Running out of yellow cards here.
Yeah. Any others while we're in a good mood?
Warming up.
The acid's been put to you, Dwayne.
Secor Handicap will kick it off at Ascot on Saturday. It's over the 1,000 metres, and at number one is Keep It. I tell you what I did miss was the Meerkats. I did miss the Meerkats. Wasn't there a few in your absence? What's been going on there?
Just opinions, mate. Just opinions.
Well, there's one last week. There was one that was 7.50 into about 3.30 or 3.20 by the time we got to it. Can't remember what horse it was.
Is that our radio?
Yes.
That was ludicrously short.
That was the one.
Let's be honest, that late.
Started 2:35.
Yeah, that was incredible. I don't know what was going on there.
Is there one on the Retrovision about the speed maps as well? There would be, wouldn't there? Because in your absence, I've been producing speed maps and they have been out of this world.
Something from Narelle from Navigators on the text line. Yeah.
Those speed maps.
No, they'll be coming again. Don't worry. I've got them all lined up. I spent plenty of time on them overnight.
All nine races?
All 9. I've done the lot.
You have been
How's
busy.
Dougal been, Mark?
I stepped on his tail today. Didn't like it. But he yelped. I thought you're tougher than that, dude. No. Just imagine the dog, he's just lying there all happy, just dozing around, all of a sudden just plonks a 92 kilo. Bang.
92?
Cop that, young Harry.
Size
What do you think, I'm a bit heavier? Or
on you?
Were you carrying a 40-kilo barbell or something?
What do you think I'm...
Probably
Not 92.
Are you looking fit?
Oh, stop it. No, nowhere near it. One, Keep It a Mystery is $7. 2, Daytona Pete, $3.90 to $3.20. Flagship, $8 to $6.50. 4, Black Aura. What about our man, Adam Durant? As he's just said, look, I'm back. I'll show you how this cape is done. $2.75. 5 is Hobbler is 16. 6, Rise to Glory. Stable name there is McGinnity, 21 into 16. Then number 7 is Nicky Motor, 12 into 9. And Sesh, 41 to 26.
We'll start with Daytona Pete. Good level of backing for this steed. 700 at 390, 750 at 370, and 1,000 at 340. Flagship, Eastern States. Pro ESPs, they're back, Mark. Did they ever leave? 300 at the 750. Black Aura's a bit of money starting to pile up there, and plenty of the old rank and file money for Daytona Pete, Mart.
Right, I better look at this. I've got Nicky Motor from 1 and Hobbler 2 as the obvious leaders, and maybe Keep It a Mystery comes over from 8. Barrier 8, I should say.
Gee, you're bang on the money, mate.
Yeah, well, that was an easy one. I got Ezra to do the map on this one.
Well, I don't know why I'm doing them. I might just message you from now on and get you to flick them across.
Right. Okay.
You can do the speed maps and I'll do the rest.
martsmaps.com.
That's it. I've been after a name. That's it. martsmaps.com. I like it.
Marts Maps. There you go. I'm a big fan of Daytona Pete, who resumes here off a recent trial down the straight at Pinjarra, which some say might have been a little bit unders on what might have been expected from him, but I'm not a huge knock on the trial. I just think he did what he had to do on that occasion. He's a really progressive 3-year-old, as we know, very well related as well, being the full brother of former stable star Red Can Man. You go back and you watch his Saturday win in 3-year-old company. The last time we saw him at the races, he box seated a fast run 1,200 metres and just won incredibly well, like a horse who could really go through the grades and keep improving. I think he should be able to slide forward here into a prominent position in running and should get the run he needs to make his presence felt on return, Brad. I think he's a pretty nice horse, and this is a field that certainly you can make a case for a number of others, but I just thought Daytona Pete's a horse that I had stamped as one that when he did return was one that I wanted to keep following as well.
Yeah, it was just a bit of a head scratch at the trial, wasn't it? But no doubt a horse that's going places. It does look one of the main chances in the race. Mart, I'm staying out, Mart. You like something here? This is one of yours.
Oh, I'm a bit of a fan of Black Aura. I just love the way it resumed. What's happened, mate? What's happened to this man?
Oh, no.
Is he okay?
Yeah, I think he's all right.
He's choked down. Might be a tongue-tie job. Black Aura. Did you like its return, Riles? I thought it was very impressive. I know it was only Pinjarra, but it just joined in.
Yeah,
Weed on them, didn't it?
Yeah.
I just don't understand why you'd go back to 1,000 metres.
Oh, is that what worries you?
Yeah.
Playing God.
Back in distance. Second up. Nice horse. Second pick for me. One under a handbrake. Was a weak field. But yeah, she's clearly dangerous late with the right run. No doubt about that. Flagship, another one. Back in distance. Thought the win, it was a strong win. Strong run, 1,200 metres, and was only really winding up over the concluding stages, I thought, Flagship. He goes back to the 1,000, and Keep It a Mystery is a really nice horse. Has been fresh in 35 days since we last saw him winning very well, but it does look a very tricky little map for Braden Garth to navigate.
So you're in the book, race 1, Daytona Pete.
Yeah, I like Daytona Pete as a horse. I'm happy to not read too much into the trial, especially down the straight at Pinjarra. Even though he has run well, has won down the straight at Pinjarra previously. I just don't think he was asked for a great deal and was just there for a tune-up. So Daytona Pete for me.
Okay, on to race number 2, the Pepsi Max Plate over the 1,000 metres. 2-year-olds go out at one is statewide at $3.60. Delta Sun $3.80 to $3. Lanfranco's $26. Crashed and Burned is $20. Blow Me Kisses $3.90. Shiz Daval is $26. Daval. Majestic View $34. Not a lot of action here. Perfect Sister is $7 and Valane Door is $12. Not a lot of action at all.
Yeah, pretty quiet one, Mart.
Yeah, 2-year-olds.
I think most of the flux have been markets merging. So not a great deal of activity to speak of, Rolls. So we'll get stuck straight into it.
Yeah, really intriguing 2-year-old race with a last gasp attempt on offer, Brad, for these to make their way into a Karrakatta Plate if they were able to come away from it victorious, and the market's clearly zeroed in on 3 key chances. Marty, did you want to take a look at the map before we get stuck into the form?
I just thought always the 2-year-olds are a bit tricky, but maybe Blow Me Kisses, Jade McNaught could be your leader. Yeah,
I agree. I thought she looked your leader, and as a result holds the aces on her key rivals here, being a race run over 1,000 metres. I thought the blinkers going on really sharpened her up in her most recent 400-metre jump out. She wears them here for the first time on race day, has only had the one career start as well, and the time she ran in that 400-metre jump out was pretty quick for the morning. She looks as though she's a sharp little filly, and the fact that she's likely to be in front turning for home with her main dangers worse than midfield, particularly Delta Sun, who's drawn very awkwardly again and likely to get out the back. I just thought that perhaps the ball, or she held the aces from that regard, Brad. In 2-year-old races, half the battle is being able to draw a barrier and finding yourself in those first few in running.
Yeah, when you've got, it seems like there's a lot of midfield to back marking types as well, doesn't there, Rolls? So it's, when you've got that one leader, you've certainly got to respect it, and the market obviously does. Things are going to have to go very, very right for Delta Sun in the run for you to make a case at $3, don't they?
Mm.
So it's very tricky. So where I'm leaning towards is, the obvious would be Blow Me Kisses. At least statewide is going to be close enough to the fence to have a crack at chasing it down.
Yeah, it just didn't step first up. really slow out of the barriers. I know the low draw probably helps, but he's another one, Brad, who scratched from a very winnable race, 1,200 metres yesterday, to save for this, dropping back to the 1,000 metres for a horse that, for mine, was only really getting wound up late over the 1,200 metres as well. So that is a concern for me with Statewide, who's a horse I really like, and I tipped into him first up at the 1,200 metres on the each-way basis as well. So there's just a few concerns for me with him, and I share your concerns with Delta Sun. Can't knock anything he's done. We saw that supremacy form hold up in the gym crack really well. So he brings the right form to the race, but again, I think we might see his best over further than 1,000 metres, and he's going to leave himself again with a lot to do from where he's drawn.
Yeah, it'll take a steer. Sneaky out wide, I want to mention Shiz Duval. I think it was a pretty forgivable debut. I definitely like the trials and think there's something there to be seen with this horse, and that'll go into my knobs at any old price late, Mart.
Tricky little race. That's it. Happy with it? Okay, we'll just update Pakenham race number 3, which is 8 minutes away. 1 Eugene Sister, 151. 4 Villa Royales, $5. Number 5 is Antalion, a 17, a big drifter. 6 is Baywatch. 5 into 320, continues to shorten. 7 J Sung Ma, 101. 8 Montjuice Magic is $4.80. 9 Sudden Change, 9 to 750. And 5 into 3 down the bottom, You Roach You Ponnet. Is that how you'd say it? Anyway, that's what I'm saying at this stage. Or we could call it Larry.
Got some news filtering through that Racing WA has announced a broadcast partnership that the full coverage of the Quokka will be showcased live on free-to-air with racing.com this year. So there you go.
Yes, that's good. Announced. That's a good move. Okay, they're in the yard there. Pakenham, we've got a chance to have a look at Ascot race number 3, the Lipton Iced Tea Handicap over the 1,000 metres. And this is time to go 4 minutes past 1 o'clock. Number 1, Avoidance, back 9.13 and stays at 13. 2, Shooting Spirit, 6.950 back to 8. 3, Talkin' Gibberish, 5, 6.50 into 4.80. 6, Evelina, you still involved there?
Oh, the People's Mare.
Yeah, 13, 31 and stays there. No. Prospector's Pick, are you still involved there, Rolls? 290 into 270. 6 is 6 Shooter. So it's 6 Shooter is 650 into 390. And 7 First Beach is 750. And 8 On the Full is just been specced, 101 into 41.
Well, Mart, they've borrowed Mitch Pateman's phone. They've sent out text messages. They've backed the truck up. Riley's called upon his million contacts, and they're keen on Prospector's Pick. Where do we start? The 290, 1,050. They said, we'd like it again, champs. I said, no, sorry, you've had enough. We'll get to 275. I had another 1,000, another 1,000, another 1,000 at the 275. Wow. Into 265, another 500, another 500. Market's settled a bit now, but we're exposed enough. And then they lined up 6 Shooter as well.
Yep.
They've started cracking there early at the 650. Well played, 400 at the 650, 600 at the 460, and a couple of 800s at the 390 and 360. 6 Shooter.
Good race.
The last of which can probably be had again. Aside from that, a little bit of ESP money talking gibberish. So, bit of money being spread, local pro money avoidance as well, Ross.
Yeah, there's no shortage of speed in this contest, is there, Mart? We might throw it over to you.
Yeah, Avoidance to come over from 6 and Talking Gibberish kicking up from 1.
Prospector's Pick can go pretty quick as well, so they look the 3 key speed horses in the race.
Is that the plan with him?
Pick? He's a horse that is naturally quick.
Yeah.
So I'd anticipate that he will push forward and try and hold a position in the first 3. Whether he has the speed to cross Talking Gibberish, I highly doubt, but I still think he'll find his spot. As you said, Avoidance will come across to look for the breeze under Sean McGruddy. Our favourite here, Prospector's Pick. I thought he trialled enormous down the straight at Pinjarra. It was a very slick run heat as well, and he really wasn't asked for a great deal. Ideally, Brad, I would have loved a map where he could find the top. I doubt he's going to have the speed to cross Talking Gibberish drawn barrier 1. He's very quick, but I do still think he's capable of sitting in behind them or even outside the lead if he kicks up and Avoidance can't get across to win the race. I'm just wary that both of his career wins have come when he's been able to just find the front and lead throughout and run them along. So he still has to tick that versatility box here, Brad, and I think it's a really good opportunity for him to do so. He's got Willie Pike on board, and just looking at his trial, he just seems to, his actions smoothed out a bit in his time off. He's not as erratic as he was early doors, Marty.
I'll have a look at it.
And he looks as though he may have matured a little bit. At least I hope he's matured a little bit off in his time off now that he's had a good, decent break as well. So I think if you line up all the pieces of work for these horses that do attack this 1,000-metre race first up, and there are some nice ones, Prospectors picked 6-shooter First Beach. Of all of their work leading in, I thought his was comfortably the best, so I was happy to put him on top, and I thought 6-shooter was a clear danger for mine, Brad, as well. So they'd be the two that I'd be looking at here, and that's the way the market's got it as well at the moment.
The market certainly agrees. There is some chance they overcook it and it sets up for a run on horse. Some chance. There's also some chance Prospectors pick gets to the front. You've got Alicia having her first ride on a Saturday,
yep.
I think. So there's some chance when W. Pie Campbell's up alongside you that can certainly play some games with your mind, I would have thought. So there's a few ways this could play out. But for me, I really liked the trial of First Beach, and it's pretty progressive. It obviously just had enough at its last start last prep, I would have thought. So it's out to a nice each way price. And a horse like Shooting Spirit to tag and ping at a pretty healthy each way price there is one I could entertain as well. But full of respect for the well supported runners too, so won't be going over the top.
Okay, are you in the book or not?
No, I'm
too short.
Leaving him out of the book for now. Got him on top, but leaving him out of the book.
Is that a bit of a owner? You're just a little bit.
Well, I marked him $3.
Right.
He's currently $2.70.
Okay, that's fair enough.
So if thereabouts the mark.
If he puts up $3, you're going to have some of it.
Oh, maybe something a bit longer, a little bit more meat on the bone. I am petrified of 6-shooter, who I think's a really nice horse and just maps really well if they do. As Brad said, they might overcook things. There's plenty of speed in this race. I think Brad Parnan can just slot in behind that speed, and he looks a really progressive 3-year-old as well, and he trailed super also.
No penguin sightings of late? Very quiet.
Funny you mentioned. We've got one off the text line. Duppy's back. He's had a hiatus similar to yours, Bradley. He's been a bit quiet the last few weeks.
He went to Greenland for a break.
Yeah, he says, hi all, Duppy here. McGinnity on his high horse early. I thought Rusty priced his markets fair and square and even found us a few winners over the last few weeks, unlike his counterparts in the studio, Oscar Allen and Liam Duggan, referring to myself and Mart. And he also says...
Subs, leave it out.
He says, Mart's maps have caused me about as much confusion as speaking to women in the flesh. And there has been a Peng sighting. He was sighted down at North Fremantle Oval last weekend, and thankfully, in good news, he was moved on by the authorities.
Well, he goes down there with the liniment and says, I'll just rub your calves, boys. And I say, hang on, you've been pulling that one for too long. Out you go, chap. Now, the Mauler, since you've been away, he's been in terrific form. Although last week was a wipeout. He actually threatened no more alcohol and no more bets on Monday, and that lasted till about the 4 o'clock at Northern Dogs. He had Shane Train's tips.
Oh.
But the Mauler's gone Black Aura, statewide Prospectors pick. There you go.
Wow.
That's lining up okay.
It is. And one of our listeners as well as texting Martin, they might be suggesting that you don't actually do your speed maps. You just get them off the Peng and claim them as your own.
I mightn't be paying I'll get them off, but I get them off some way.
The Perth Racing Preview is where the Straight Up team finds you the winners, and here's the Straight Up team with their preview of Saturday racing from Ascot.
Thanks, TJ. Now, Pakenham race number 3, it was 10, 4, 8 and 9, and you wrote upon it. Jordan Childs, 380, 160. Nice horse. By rote, Villa Royale, 140. And Mont Juice Magic at 150. Quinella, $11. Exacta, 17.40. Trifecta, 66.90. First 4, 10, 4, 8, 9, 156.90. 6 and 10, the double 18, 22. And 3 out. Pakenham race 4 goes in 22. Over the 1,000 metres for the Class 1s. 1, Because You're Mine is $5. 3 transactions, $3. Little Quinella there. 4 Dayella is $2. 5 Free to Play is $6.50, and 7 Machine Gun Ron at $34. We are up to race number 4 out there at Ascot on Saturday, being Derby Day. And what a day it should be. The Tab Touch West Speed Platinum Autumn Series Heat number 1. It's over the 1,200 metres, and it is start to time at 1:44. Hymns of Valadair is $5. Calvinator. Wasn't a bad run the other day, 31.26. 3 Bondi Plunge, $4 from 460. 4 Let's Talk, 260, 290 back to 260. 5 Pull the Trigger, 12 out to 20. 6 My Lovely Pet, 15 into 10. 7 Cryptic Joy, around that $14 mark. 8 Like No Other is 51. Number 9 Ocean Goddess, 13 into 850. And Yelling Gup Girl is 26.
Good betting race, Mart. Heaps of money flying around here. So we've got Eastern States Pro Money, Let's Talk, 1,300 there at the 265. My Lovely Pet is getting local sharp money and Eastern States money each way. Bondi Plunge, local pro, 600 at the 440. Yep, Kelvinator, a bit of each way money there, Mart. Someone agrees with you. Ocean Goddess, also quite well specced by the ESPs. So it's a good spread.
Pretty deep little West Speed race. This one, there's good spread of talent across race 4 in the program. I'm a big fan of the favourite, Let's Talk. I think he's a really progressive horse. I thought the 1,000 was always going to be a little bit short for him, but he was still far too good for them first up off a couple of super trials, and he was absolutely annihilated in betting that day as well, Brad, which is a really good sign. There's a massive opinion of this galloper. He gets out to 1,200 here. I thought he could slide forward into a prominent role. Is that how you felt as well, Marty, from a map perspective? As
you boys would like to say, it's a bit of a Lionel map, isn't it? That's a bit...
Sponsored by marksmaps.com.
I'm not too sure about this one. Who did you have going forward? I thought Kelvinator could.
Let's Talk and Kelvinator were the two, I thought.
Yeah, I thought with Alex Hearn back on board, My Lovely Pet could kick through and hold a prominent position from Barrier 1 as well. But yeah, back to Let's Talk. I think he's a genuine Saturday horse, and now the box that he has to tick is being able to handle that corner and that bend at Ascot, which he did show in his initial campaign that he was unable to. He really hung out around it in his first couple of attempts. So that's the box that he still has to tick. But just watching the professionalism of his win there first up and how he trialled, I think he may have really matured off the break and come back a bigger and better horse this time in. So I'm happy to put him in the book, Mart. Let's Talk. I really like him as a type, and I'm going to throw in my man, Bunga Hearn, at double figure odds as well with My Lovely Pet as a little 2-horse play here, who's just absolutely flying this time in for Bronwyn Matheson. I thought he was a relatively one-dimensional horse and that he had to lead to win and it had to be over 1,000 metres, but he ran the quickest last 2 home. Last start in a fast run 1,200 behind Jazz Session, who's absolutely airborne, and thought there was a slight chance if he begins that he could kick through and potentially even lead them up here from Barrier 1 with Alex back on, who has been aboard for all 3 of his wins this prep, so they clearly get on very well.
I think from memory has beaten Santanova when leading as well, so obviously, if my memory serves me correctly, so, and the horse is certainly showing more versatility this prep, so it has to be right there, and there's money to indicate as such. Very even race, isn't it right? I mean, in regards to, I could even look at roughies like Yelling Up Girl and pull the trigger into Novs to run good races, because they've shown they're more than capable on their day. So really even affair, and as Mark said, Kelvinator can run a race too.
What about the gear change here that Adam has pulled on blinkers first time, winkers off, Hymns of Aladdin?
I thought it was an interesting move.
14 back to the 12? Just to sharpen him up?
Yeah.
If it works, watch out.
Gee, we've seen that a fair bit the last few weeks.
The coming back.
Dropping back in trip.
So you're not a coming back fan.
But not just dropping back in trip.
Yeah.
Horses that have won dropping back in trip.
You're saying that they've won and then dropped back in trip?
Yes.
Yeah.
We've seen that more the last few weeks than I think I can remember.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it's not generally one of mine, but you have to have your rules and what you like from a formula perspective when you do these sort of races, Martin. You have to stick to it. It's probably one for me that hasn't been the greatest in terms of following horses dropping back in distance in my time doing the form, but I know some love it.
Yeah.
So, Bondi Plunge, another, had excuses first up. Apprentice's only race, gets a senior jockey on board, gets a nice barrier, should improve the run, and I thought the second up win last campaign was massive, so have to have plenty of respect for Bondi Plunge as well. And just one out wide, have to touch on Ocean Goddess for Jess Carberry, who gets Sean O'Donnell on board second up. I thought the run first up, no trial, off a decent spell, was massive, given the pattern of the day. I'm not sure this is the setup, given she is likely to find herself last in running from the barrier. It does look a tricky map for her, but gee, she looks a progressive playing God, lightly raced 4-year-old, and looks to have plenty of ability. And we saw Ukai, who won that race, come out and win again in very impressive fashion there at Pinjarra yesterday to frank the form.
Yep.
Right. I'm a bit of a Hymns of Aladdin fan. I've had a good preparation with him, and I think $5 each way is backable. I think so.
You asking or telling?
No, I'm trying to talk myself into it. Race 5, Coolridge Handicap over the 1400.
Just wanted that positive reassurance.
And it's not coming.
It's just cricket.
So I'm glad because a lot of times I don't need it from you two. I'm with, who was Dubsy? Duppy, yeah.
You're confusing him, Mark.
Once.
Be more clear.
5 out to 8. Number 2, so lucky. 440 to 360. Now, here we go. Western Power. First of the day, 360 to 275. 4, Simply Thinking, 20. 5, Masterly, 10. 6, Sports Talk, 41. 7, Bondi Bay, 31. Number 8, Hammer Mill, 550. In from 7. 9, War Matters is $17, and 10, Pure Obsession. We've had a few of them at 41.
Mart.
Yes.
This is a nice betting race. They've, as you alluded to,
loosened up the shoulders
with that little bit of whiplash you just got. Western Power, pretty keen early. What do we got? 360, 800 there, the 340, another 900, 1,000 at the 280. Another 1,000 at the 310. So lucky. Eastern States pros like this steed a little bit. 600 at the 440 and 800 at the 380. Pure Obsession, some good each way support there. It's getting stepped away quite nicely, and local pro also keen. Hammermill there at the bigger price. A couple there actually, up the $7 and the $6. So a reasonable spread of money, but there's a lot of them queuing up Western Power. It and Prospector's Pick are probably two of our bigger stands of the day.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty keen Western Power, Marty. I thought he was the best bet on the program. For mine,
nice horse.
I loved his trial leading into his first up run. He was really well tried in betting, despite obviously with what occurred at Pinjarra in the week leading in, losing Chris Parnham, who was intended to ride him on that occasion. he was replaced by Troy Turner, and Troy didn't really do a lot wrong from barrier one. He just never got room and was never afforded the opportunity to have a crack at them late when he needed to, and should have finished a lot closer to Angel Undercover and our Rocky Bay in 66 plus. Company was still only beaten a touch over a length, and gee, that pair of horses would be very well regarded in a graduation 60 plus here. Marty, I would have thought jockey change with Clint Johnson-Porter jumping on board. That's a tick. Should be able to sit a pair closer at least in running here from the barrier, and should improve for having that first up run under the belt as well. I think it's a really good race for him back in class. I'm pretty keen on Western Power.
I thought the map, we didn't talk about it, but Master Leader lead from barrier 3?
Yeah.
Yep.
Looks a soft lead.
I thought so, yeah.
Yeah, pretty soft. And I thought that Speak to Me might try and get across to the breeze.
With maybe a sports talk or pure obsession. Yeah, there's a few of those that might just go forward a little bit. But I'm keen Speak to Me each way on that. Also on that thought process that it could get across to the breeze and have a nice cosy run. I couldn't have trolled much better. He's a very capable horse. Getting $8-9 each way, that's good enough for me. I didn't have a great deal between about 4 of them. Did have Western Power favourite, but I'm not going to get the price I want by any stretch.
Second pick for me, Speak to Me, and I think the important thing for him, as you mentioned, Brad, if he can get to the breeze, he can give this race a real shake.
Okay, we move on to race number 6. That is the Schweppes WATC Derby over the 2,400 metres, Group 2. And it is time to go at 3 o'clock. What a race we've got. Sale session, $4.20. Open at $3.60. Max Who's Staffen, $9.15. Number 3, Net Zero, is 12 out to 19. 4, Machine Gun Gracie, $1.70, $1.75. Then they said, right, that's enough. $1.60. Noah Quintilli, 26 into 18. Number 6 is Fun Charles, $6.56. And 7, Summers Legacy, 41, and just a little speck into 31.
What about these Gracie bets, Mart?
Wow.
The good filly.
Yep.
$4,000 at $1.60, $3,000 at $1.70, $1,000 at $1.60, $1,000 at $1.60, $1,000 at $1.60, $1,000 at $1.70, $500 at $1.60. Nothing more to speak of. It's just all one-way traffic for the good filly.
Donga takes her to the front and leads. And does Max Who's Staffen and Luke Campbell just from barrier 2 take the trail?
Don't think it'll matter. How do they beat her?
No. Wow, that was a good win last start, wasn't it?
You just look at her preparation. It's just been incredible. One of the more impressive maiden performances I think I've seen personally in recent seasons. What she was able to do there at Pinjarra that Sunday afternoon, had to absorb a mountain of pressure and still somehow kicked to run second in that 1,000 guineas, ran them ragged in the Natasha. Then last start, the most impressive of the lot, Mart.
Well, she still broke 2:30 and they sort of walked a bit early, which preempted that move by Pike on Fun Charles, but they've still ran 2:29.28.
It's a hard thing to do, Mart, when you get taken on having already established the lead during the race to then have to take the rest of the field up to the new pacemaker. Mm-hmm. And then to not only do that, but take over and win with the ease that she did. That was just the most impressive part about it.
It was insane, really, the way and how easy she won on the line, just careering away. And we'd spoken, and you'd sort of made a point for the Peters horse. I was a bit stronger that Fun Charles could close the gap on where they were in the Natasha.
He gave it every chance.
But what a ride by Pike to do that. I loved it. I know the owners loved it, and Grant and Alana said, well, why not?
Yeah, 100%. And I think for the favourite here as well, what she showed last start is now we know she can lead, and we know that if something wants to go silly to take her on, that she can just sit in behind them and still beat them. I just found it impossible to find an argument against her, and the girls' lead-up races have, for mine, been a fair bit stronger than the boys.
Has there been, or can you remember, a better one prep performance of a horse than this one?
As
its
an owner,
first prep.
You're pretty chuffed getting to the races, in early February, and now we're mid-April, and you've banked 275,000 and another 60 in West Speed bonuses. That's a good ownership experience, and more to come by the looks of things.
You would say so, and as you rightly said, Rolls, the win at Pinjarra was, outstanding.
It's incredible.
And her first start was on the 2nd of February, this campaign. And she's just done... It's amazing. Goes to say a lot about the training here from Justine as well, just to get it right. Because if
Her whole team is humming at the moment.
If you don't get it, and she'll probably get on, I haven't heard her interviewed about the horse, and maybe the horse is just a dead set easy horse to train. I don't know. You guys might know.
Yeah, I've listened to her interviews, and she is.
Okay,
she
so
says
she
she's
just
one of
fills
the,
herself
she
up
says
in the-
she's one of the easiest horses
at
to
the feed
train
bin.
she's ever had.
Yeah. So it's pretty hard to stuff it up. And I'd imagine this week would be probably, or this fortnight would probably be the easiest. You've got her there, already won at 2,400 metres, and just keep it ticking.
I listened to her, might have been last week, when she was on with the Morning Boys and the Sports Daily, and she said that most of the time you wouldn't even know she's there at home, and then once they put the saddle on her and they ask her to do some work, she does things behind the scenes that Justine's never seen before.
And these days too, they have all the data measurers that they put on the horses that they can really tell you, well, have a look what it's done there. Maybe to your eye, but then you have a look at the data and it just tells you, stride length and heart rates and all of that, and they come back and maximum speeds, and you go, wow. So
I'd love to see you under one of those measuring devices.
depends the exercise I'm doing.
Maximum heart rate.
Check one on Mart, the stride length.
Some big name owners in this horse, including the Bin Chicken Pony Club.
Yes, the Bin Chicken Pony Club.
Well known.
Very well known.
Outstanding.
I know Dan Morton, rightfully so, does give his bloke a chance of knocking her off in sale session, and he hasn't really put a foot wrong.
No, hasn't.
He was put into the race at the right time at the shorts in the Mel Vista to get the job done. Wasn't as convincing as some might have expected.
Did he go? Lucy said that she actually went a bit earlier than she would have because it was the on-pace nature of the day, and probably would have rather waited another 200 metres.
I think he's that kind of horse. He just needs that, to be
get
putting,
running,
to
get rolling.
Which is why barrier one could potentially be problematic for him if he does find himself stuck behind a few or a couple. Because I would anticipate a very positive Luke Campbell on Max Verstappen. Pike will want to hold a spot with Fun Shower drawn his outside, and Lucy's in one with Machine Gun Gracie in three. You might find yourself leaders back or three the fence and needing some room to move. I don't think it's a massive problem, but
What happens if maybe he gets the, what do you like to call it, the suck ping run, the old Pat-Pong Road run, and it might suit the horse. You never know. So you might just off heels and have a little, one quick sprint at it. Who knows?
I didn't think Max Verstappen was
The worst?
I didn't think there was much difference between their runs last start in the Mel Vista.
Considering the price differential.
Well, I think the differential's because Sal Session still beat him home, and Sal Session's 2 kilos the better.
Sorry, I meant when they met in the Mel Vista.
Oh, yes.
One was $1.40, one was $61.
$61.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that has trimmed up and a little bit, and rightfully so.
She wins. When you just turn it off and say that's enough, go to $1.30 and say, now, if you want it, it's there.
Gee, she's going to be in some multis. She's going to be anchored in some multis. It's been that sort of season, that period too, last few months. There's been a lot of these shorties get up, and a lot of these multis get home.
You know how we read the big bets out on Racing Rewind on Sunday morning? Gee, there's been someone's been having a big bet over the last month, hasn't it? And it coincides obviously with a lot of that Sydney racing and what's going on with the shorties there.
Yep, they love the good stuff.
But it flows. It has been flowing into Ascot.
Great for turnover.
Oh, yeah. Some massive bets. So we're with her.
Yeah.
All right, we've got this race coming out from Pakenham. Then we'll be taking a break, 3.5 off Pakenham. We've got an odds-onny here, Dayala, to be ridden by Jakey Newton. It's been $2.70 into $1.70 transactions, $3.30 because you're minus $7.50 free to play at 7. For Lukey Curry, new rider there, Machine Gun Ron is $26. Big game tonight. Brisbane hosting Collingwood. Lee Matthews, part of that commentary team. I looked up and you look at his record, Riles. Four premierships as a player and 4 premierships as a coach. That's a bit of a record, isn't it?
He's had a tough run.
Over 330-odd games. And no wonder they think, well, God's here when he joins them in the commentary box up there in Brisbane. No one's talking while you're interrupting when Lee's about. That is for sure.
Lethal.
Yeah. So we've just dispatched the Schweppes WATC Derby over the 2,400 metres. We now move on to race number 7 on the card, which is the second leg of the quaddie. It is the Peters Investments Handicap over the 1,600 metres. And at number 1, you preempted this last week. It'll be on the back up above the peg at $11. 2 Here for Checks, 10. Number 3, our Rocky Bay, 480. 4 Macchiato, 19. 5 Stylish Lord, 8.50 into 7. 6 Bellini Miss off the Little Freshen, 17 to 14. 7 Blazing Emerald is 5.50 to 4.60. 10 Catch These Hands, 10 to 7.50. And Correct Choice, 4.20 for Peters Investments in their own race.
Nice place bet early. Catch These Hands, 1,200 places at the 270. Blazing Emerald, plenty of good support there. 400 each way, 250 each way, 200 each way at the $5, 460, 460. Catch These Hands, a couple of hundred each way there early at the $10, well played. And 150 each way at the $8. A little bit of specking there, Correct Choice. Money hasn't really come locally yet for above the peg, but on the bounce you'd think it will be coming later.
Okay, our Rocky Bay again to lead from 8 cuts across. Blazing Emerald from 3 up there. What do they do with above the peg this week? You got this one right last week, Riles? Map-wise?
I don't really think they have any other option than to go back from the draw, really. There's a bit of speed in this. Blazing Emerald, our Rocky Bay, they'll take care of proceedings. Stylish Lord will push forward to just park in behind them. Then you've got Catch These Hands, leaders back.
Stylish Lord.
It's pretty set and forget first 4 in your speed map.
Yep.
And I think they'll run along at a genuine tempo as well. And this is one where the market could do a few funny things late, Brad. It's obviously quite condensed at the moment. Once we get closer to start time, there's no shortage of horses that it wouldn't surprise to see really supported late.
I reckon Correct Choice would have a 2 in front of it if it was off 2 weeks and not 4. And that's what's confusing me about this race.
Yeah, and Correct Choice, I might be off the mark here, but I'm happy to back Correct Choice at that price, Brad. I think it's a really nice race for him to step into this company with how this race sort of maps out for him. I thought it was a really impressive win from last in Graduation Company last on a day that wasn't exactly easy to make ground, given where he settled in the run. And he was really soft late. It was an easy, effortless win. Draws a great barrier here to park midfield with cover. I think they'll run along at a genuine tempo with Blazing Emerald and our Rocky Bay both rolling forward and controlling proceedings. I think he's still progressing. As you know, Marty, you're the breeding buff, but these So You Thinks can take a little bit of time. And now as a 4-year-old, he's got some racing under his belt. He looks as though he's come back bigger and much better. This campaign, he's always been a nice horse, but he's just starting to put it together now, as we saw with his win last start. And I'm happy to back him at that price, and I'm interested to see what the market does with him late, as there's every chance you might even get a better price.
Love to hear Mickey G's thoughts on the morning of the race, because he's one that's pretty much when you interview him, he sounds like an open book. He's pretty honest with where he thinks the horse is at.
That's a good call.
What's gone wrong, and he's really, and I've heard him be very open before and saying, I think I've pulled the wrong rein here. I've also heard him say, I think this horse is flying, and blah blah. So gives his honest appraisal, and you'd love to know that leading up to the race, because that would probably point me one way or the other.
And just one other, Marty, before you give us any more of your questions or queries regarding this race. I've had something on one at odds as well here in Bellini Miss for our man SJ, who I just thought she was over the odds. She can sit closer from the barrier here. She's drawn beautifully in 5. I thought she had clear excuses from a very wide draw last start in what was a very fast run, 1,600 metres behind Trio, and gets 2.5 kilos on our Rocky Bay here for that run. I just thought this horse, we know that her best is really good. She ran third in a hot run, 1,800 metres behind Royal Toronado back in November, beaten a length and a half fly with caution. It's a really good form for a race of this nature, and I thought she could really improve here with this setup from a good barrier. So the price on offer gets me for a little speculative play with Bellini Miss as well.
Had a little bit each way above the peg. Just basically the backup theory on just how well this horse goes. It's incredible. Might be a sticky setup, but also might be, as you said, Ross, they might go pretty quick in this and set it up for a few back markers. And another drifter late that I'll have a crack at is Macchiato, because I've always had an opinion of this horse and just seems a progressive type that may even appreciate longer over time.
Nice horse. Hate barrier 1. Sorry, barrier 2. Just means.
They may stretch out a bit here. That's
yeah.
Just on that breeding with So You Think, it's out of Celebrity's Choice, which is a Reduced Choice. And you know Bob's got so many good Reduced Choice mares, but the second best nick for a So You Think is a Reduced Choice mare. Had 64 runners, 46 winners, 5 stakes winners. So he's got that cross. And he's got a few, hasn't he, Bob? So You Think's out of Reduced, and So You Think's just in his stable anyhow. So he's obviously identified that, Nick. So in the book or not?
Yeah, in the book for me, Marty. Correct choice. Happy to be on at the price. And also Bellini Miss, I think, is a really good roughie for our mate SJ.
Yeah, well, we'll have him on too later, and we're going to get up to Kalgoorlie, hopefully, catch up with David Metzke, who's a local steward up there, and find out how that track is looking for the KBRC's big Good Friday meeting after they've had 40 mil of rain. You've got something for us, Riles?
Yeah, the great Greg L. Haven't heard from Greg for a little while. Good to have him back with us. He's keen on Western Power as well as the best bet of the day. So Greg's following us in there. And Michael from North Perth. Saturday's fields for Ascot are up with markets, but Fridays are not up with fixed odds. How does that work? Thank you. And he says thank you, so he's asking without the malice involved, I think.
The feature meeting of the week's always been programmed in general play to be out at 8 o'clock Thursday morning, and sometimes we're at the mercy of other operators and other resources in regards to these special meetings.
Bit of a funny weekend being a Good Friday and Easter long weekend as well. So, yeah, I can understand why the Saturday meeting went up first. But I still would think you'd like markets for tomorrow's meeting by now.
By now you would, ideally, absolutely.
So why aren't they?
There is actually a bit of resource amending being done locally with Tab Touch, where we will have the ability to be able to throw a few more of these markets up earlier in scenarios like this where everyone else is sleeping at the wheel.
Not the RA.
Resource amending, yep. It
really sounds like
it's executive talk.
BS term, doesn't it?
You'd be good at that, I reckon.
I've had my turn at it. Given that away. Bellis Racing, join a racing syndicate. If you're going to join a racing syndicate, which one would you join?
Oh, that bin chicken.
Peter, if you're listening, Pete, I did my best, mate.
Well, they haven't won a Perth Cup.
Yeah.
They haven't won a Perth Cup.
Oh, that's the alarm there. I've got to...
You got to ring Brad.
You got to ring that little blue pill, Mark. You got to take.
You've got to ring the foghorn.
I've got to get Brad Hardy in a minute. Because this game's not far away. It's 34 minutes away. We have to get him 30 minutes before. And I can report in that the nephew's reported in. Everything is good. He's up in the commentary box there, ready to call a trial. And he's our man in charge of the wage and trots tonight. So, race number 8 to go at 420 over the 1,000. 1 is Ginnivan, 752. Classic Rogue, 71. 3 All Play, 390. 4 Sinful Living, 12. 5 Russian Snipers 51.6, Super Session 17.7, Toropa 380 to 330, 8 Brave Strike 9 to 550. There's where the Meerkat comes in, and Golden Vale is $6.
Mart,
Yes,
it's not a real meerkat.
isn't it? Why?
Oh, there's
There's
been a little bit of money. Like someone said, what, 300 at the $9. We're best price in the country. We're trying to lay Brave Strike. I'm pretty keen on taking it on here. So yeah, we will remain aggressive there. Toropa's the one, Mart. Oh my goodness.
Nice.
900 at the 340, 800 there at the 380, 300 at the 380. Plenty of 2 and 300s there, Toropa. All play, the money's starting to come now. 300 at the 340.
One of the highlights of the day, this race. It's a beauty. What about the map, Mart?
Oh, the map. Okay.
There are people texting in saying we've been
Sinful Living, and Golden Vale just gets a nice little run behind them. How's that?
Nice little.
I'm looking forward to the martsmaps.com merch.
What do you reckon would be first?
Some of the logos are going to be a little bit interesting.
Let us know if you'd buy any of
the maps.
Mart's Maps merch on the Retrovision text line 0427 789.
There'll be smugglers, won't there?
Oh, there'll be smugglers.
Come on, we need to move this on. I've got a bit on here. I've got to get to Brad Hardy.
Yes, okay. We'll get a move on. This is a really good race, Mart. We see the return of Toropa. We see the return of All Play, and they're the two the market want at the moment. I've always loved All Play. He was very good to us last campaign. Looks a black type sprinter in waiting. Brad, I think that's fair.
Yeah.
It's been a month since his recent trial win at Belmont Park, and the fact that the glue-on shoes replace the Equicast suggests that there might have been a little minor setback since then.
Another one where you'd love Trevor's info in regards to that.
100%.
But trust his ability to get the horse right on the day.
Correct. Has to be a minor concern, but he should get a beautiful run tracking this speed in this race from that draw. All Play. And then Toropa has her first run for SJ Miller after the retirement of Doyen of WA Racing. Vern Brockman attacks this race fresh without a trial, as you mentioned, yet to be beaten in 2 first-up runs in her career to date. And, gee, she ran into some strong races without winning last campaign. So you have to be completely respecting of her, and she's got the tactical speed to lob right in behind that speed as well. I've got respect for Ginnivan. Drops back to a ratings race, but has plenty of weight to carry, and there will be pressure coming across from out wide in the form of Sinful Living. I don't think that works in his favour. Golden Vale gets a nice run, box seating, and has been freshened up. But Toropa and All Play are the two for me, Brad, and I didn't have a lot between them in the market, but just the slight concern that maybe there's been a setback with All Play. I was leaning towards Toropa, but I really struggled to split the pair.
Yeah, at the 1,000, I prefer All Play. I'll take the 420 available. Well aware of that risk in regards to the glue-on shoes there. It's a concern, isn't it, Ross? But All Play will be the one that gets me. And if Ginnivan drifts much further, I could have a sneaky bet on it too, because that was full of respect for the horse, and I think he can run a race here, especially if it can get to the front, which I think it can.
Right, we've got one to go, and then we'll be going down to Wage and catching up with the nephew and previewing the meeting down there. Great to have Wage and Trots on tonight. No doubt there'll be a big crowd on course.
It's only great to have them on if the nephew can find our listeners a winner.
He'll find a winner. Don't worry about that, and he'll call them home in great fashion, passionate fashion from the nephew. Vale Kim Bailey Handicap is the last event of the day over the 1,200 metres. To all his family and friends, we wish you all the best. One keep attacking is 8 into 6, 2 Silver Eye 10 into 8, and playing Rio 18 into 17, 4 Blue Rocket after red 550 to 390, 5 is Canny Rock. And how's yours? $9. 6 Changing Guard is 61. 7 Jazz Session. The Picket Fence 290 to 270. Madame Magic is $14, and Nobility. Oh, that was a sneaky winner last start. $13. Didn't see that one coming.
All those market moves, smart.
Sponsored
Banks
by?
Avenue's been scratched.
Sponsored by?
Martsmaps.com. Plenty of feedback on this text line as well.
Yeah, for the map. I just want to tell you, before you launch, nobility to lead with Jazz Session around the place. That's what I've got.
Yeah, around the place. One of our listeners says they'll buy a Marts Maps T-shirt if there's a photo of the peng on the back.
Now, where's all the money gone, more importantly?
Oh, well, Jazz Session.
Yep.
1,100 wins at the 2.8. Silver Eye, local pro keen each way at the $10. Keep attacking. They started early. They liked the $8, and they're still coming at the 6.
Kept attacking.
Canny Rock, bit of Eastern States Pro money as well.
Yeah, good race to round out the program. I'm a massive fan of what Jazz Session's been doing, as I'm sure most punters are. She keeps winning. She's a proper mare in form at the moment. And Brad, while this is certainly her toughest test to date, there's no doubt about that, she drops some weight off her back. And her figures, Mart, from her recent runs, if she can reproduce, they are going to more than stack up in this field,
Good.
I think. Just needs, and this is the only slight sticking point for me, is that I think there are a few horses drawn underneath her who are going to look for a similar spot in running. I think she just needs to find a spot from that barrier early. And there are a few horses drawn underneath her, like Blue Rocket, like Silver Eye, potentially even Madame Magic, who showed a bit more dash than she usually does in her recent trial. If Tash kicked up with her to try and hold a position, which I doubt, but there is enough there to suggest that it could get a little bit sticky potentially for Donga early. But I think if he can find a spot with her and a back to follow, I'm happy to follow her in to win her 4th race on the bounce.
Yep.
Not a lot to add. Bit of a head scratch for mine. A few horses that are creeping out to pretty nice each way prices, like Nobility, who does look like it'll be left alone again in front.
Correct.
Madame Magic, that was a nice trial. Maybe even as slightly off last prep, Madame Magic, and has just come back right near her best. So there's a few horses here that could get me each way. Kenny Rock's flying. How much more can it do?
Yeah, Matt for me.
Yeah, does he, but has shown it can do it tough. It can chase. It can, put in the hard yard. So, yeah, sticky race for me. I might just snip a couple each way, Martin, knobs and that, but not overly enthused.
Okay.
Blue Rocket will have fans as well. With Pike on board, should get the run of the race from that barrier, and might take a bit of confidence from that win last start at Geraldton.
Quickly get your bets on Ballarat Race 3. Mickey McGuan going 1 and 8. They're up behind the mobile. We've just got Matty back too. We lost the line, but he's got it back on. So let's get our best bets for the program out there at Schweppes. WATC Derby Day, Ascot.
Comfortably with Western Power as the best bet on the program, Mart, in race 5. Race 4, 2-horse play, Let's Talk and My Lovely Pet. And then race 7, Correct Choice and Bellini Miss.
What about Daytona Road?
And Daytona Pete, I think, looks a bet in the opening race as well.
Race 2 statewide, as it approaches $4. Race 3, I'm going to back both Shooting Spirit and First Beach. Race 5, Speak to Me each way, $9.50 around the traps. That's a good each way bet for mine. Race 8, All Play at the $4.20 around the traps will get me to.
Go the Prospector.
Geez, you've been good today. Great to have you back.
Yeah, thanks.
We hope you enjoyed another stimulating episode of Straight Up. All betting markets supplied by Tab Touch. All care, no responsibility went into the production of today's podcast.